Good evening. Okay, so we've got a bit of a random location tonight. I had a bit of a change of plan, so I thought, you know what, I'm still going to go live because Facebook's been really rubbish this week. Like, I've done a couple of lives that just haven't posted up. I don't know what's going on with it. I know that it's not just me either, so I think there's some stuff going on behind the scenes. So I am sat in Lidl's car park because Callum has fire cadets on a Friday. It's an hour's trip there and an hour's trip back, and I normally go home in between for like an hour, and I was like, do you know what, I just haven't got the energy to do that tonight, so I'm just gonna go and do some shopping and brave the shops a little bit. So I thought I'd quickly pop on live and share my top 10 tips with you to get more views on your Instagram stories. So pop a 1 below if you're watching live, pop a 2 below if you're watching on replay. And yeah, I'm loving Instagram at the moment. Absolutely love it. It's really friendly, really easy to use. Like, the network is absolutely massive on there, and I love the fact that you can be creative and really create your own pictures and put your own stamp on things as well, and that's what people should be doing on Facebook a lot of the time, but they're not. So yeah, really loving Insta at the moment, especially the stories. And then I also transport those stories onto or copy them onto Facebook as well. Facebook aren't as good with their stories, sorry, at the moment. They've still got a little bit of work to do to catch up with Instagram, but the same principle applies for both of them. I'm just going to turn my car off, otherwise I'm going to end up with a flat battery. So yeah, same principle applies for both Instagram and Facebook with the stories, but there are a few features that Instagram have that Facebook don't yet, but they are slowly catching up. So my first top tip in regards to Instagram stories is make sure you use hashtags. I can't even say it, hashtags. A lot of people don't know that you can use hashtags on Instagram stories. There is a little icon where you can put one hashtag, and I do recommend doing that, but also you can actually use the writing to write in 10 hashtags, and then it's going to look really, really ugly when you've done that. So then what you do to make sure you hide them is you shrink them so they're really, really tiny and no one can see them, and then you've got 10 hashtags in that post where you're really targeting your target market or the people you want to reach, but they can't be seen, so it doesn't make your post look ugly. Does that make sense? And you can also then use the hashtag button as well. So that's the first tip. Second tip is geotag. So this is location. You want to make sure that you're putting a location on every single post that you're doing, because that is going to really help you target people if you're wanting to build a business in a certain area. Make sure you do a location on every single post. Same principle applies. You pick the location and then you shrink it really, really small so that no one can see it. So on every post that you do, you want to make sure that you have 10 hashtags and your location, because that is going to be maximizing your post within, you know, Instagram and the news feed and the discovery posts and everything. So basically it's going to allow you to be seen more. When you use your location, be quite specific, because this is on stories, on stories, not on the post, but you want to make sure that you're quite specific, because sometimes if you just use a larger area, then basically there's going to be a lot of people using, so say for example you live in Southampton, it's going to be a lot of people using that, so you want to make sure you're specific, but also make sure it's relevant. So Instagram will look at what you're posting and they will look at the location that you're using, and they will basically look and see if it's relevant, and if it's not relevant, then they're not going to show it in their feed. So make sure that you, so if for example you're at a restaurant or if you're at a shop, like you tag that shop in that location, and that's going to give you a much more specific audience. Okay, the next thing is good content. You want to make sure that your content is not fuzzy. You want to make sure it's clear. You want to make sure it stands out. You want to make sure it's different. You want to make sure that it's like your Instagram stories are not like your feed. Like, I always think that the feed is the highlight reel and your stories is behind the scenes. So this is where people really get to know you. This is where people are going to realize that you're more than just what you show on your feed. So I really let my personality come through on my Instagram stories and make sure that, you know, you're showing behind the scenes, you're showing what life's really like. You know, if you've got kids and you want to put your kids in there, like, I do all sorts of things, and really mix it up as well. Mix up your content so it's not just all pictures or it's not just all videos. Make sure that you've got, you know, you've got loads of features on there as well, so have a play. You've got you can use boomerang, you can use things like super zoom, you can use things like I always, if I'm doing a video, rather than going live, I'll just record a 15-second video on my phone and then upload it to Instagram, because on Instagram stories you've got a maximum of 15 seconds with a video, so lots of little short snippets of video rather than a long one. And just, yeah, keep it varied all the time, and make sure that your content is really good and eye-catching, and that you think if you were scrolling through that, would you stop and look at it? Okay. Post more consistently. That's one of the massive keys. So you decide how many times you're going to post a day. Like, I normally go for about 10, because I just literally story my life most of the time. Then I've got my settings set on Instagram so that whenever I've done anything on Instagram, it saves to my phone, then I just instantly upload it onto Facebook, so I don't have to create 2 posts. I just duplicate what I've already done. So decide how many times you're going to post and then be consistent with that. Don't overthink the stories either. Like, yes, you want the content to be good and you want it to be valuable, but people are really nosy, so they're going to want to see what's going on. And then number 5 is make sure you space out the content. So don't upload 10 posts and then nothing for the rest of the day. If you're going to do 10 posts, you want to make sure that they are spread out over like 10 hours, so 1 an hour or something like that, because what happens is every time you upload a new post on your Instagram story, you will come to the front of someone's feed. So if you go to Instagram or Facebook and you see the stories across the top of your feed, it will show the most recent. Then when someone's watched that, it goes to the back of the queue. So that's why you want to be regular and consistent with your stories. So say, for example, you do one every 2 hours or every hour. That's going to get you seen every hour by that person. And make sure that content is eye-catching, because then they're going to want to watch you. They're going to press on that. Like, I've got a few that always come to the front of mine that I always watch. I very rarely scroll through and watch anyone else. So make sure that you're thinking about that. Like, think about how many times people scroll through as well. So you can also DM your story. This isn't something I recommend doing on a regular basis to lots of people. Sorry about the joggy hand, because my arm's aching and my tripod isn't working. But I wouldn't recommend that you DM your story all the time. But if you think that someone's going to really appreciate something, or it's of value to somebody, not because you're trying to sell them something, but if it's a value to somebody, then you can DM that story to someone. So that's something that, you know, a lot of people don't know. So that's number 6. Number 7, and this is what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to update mine tonight when I get home, a call to action in your bio. And quite often people have their shop link or something in their bio. I don't agree personally with having your shop link in your bio. That's just my personal opinion, because if I go to someone's profile and they've got a shop link in their bio, I instantly think they're going to try and sell me something. So I either have, at the moment I've got my blog, which I haven't done anything with for the last few weeks, but I've either got my blog or I link it to my Facebook and I have my Facebook profile there. And you know, there's lots of different things you can do, but I personally don't like having my shop link there. But you could have something in your bio just saying, if you really, you know, if you like my feed, then check out my stories, because some people, by clicking on my profile picture, and if you're always doing stories, there's always going to be something for people to sort of click on, because a lot of people don't know how to use stories yet. Like, it's a really new feature, and a lot of people don't know about it. So have a call to action in your bio. That's number 7. Number 8, this was really interesting that I found out today actually. And do you know that 85% of videos on Facebook are watched without the sound? And it was so funny because I saw this fact earlier on, and then I was scrolling through Facebook and I was like, oh my god, I'm doing it. I'm doing exactly that. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm watching all these videos without the sound on, because a lot of them have the subtitles, so you don't need the sound. And also what I find is that I know if I'm clicking on Instagram stories and on videos on Facebook, that quite often you'll click on it and you're not in a position to watch that there and then. But if it's got the subtitles, like say for example I'm in bed and Mark's asleep, or you know, one of the kids is asleep and I'm in a position where, you know, I can't make a lot of noise, then I will sit and read the subtitles of a video rather than putting on the sound. So that's a top tip, which is my number 8. Make sure that you have subtitles on your videos, on your Insta story, so that people know what it's about. Because then if it's something that's going to and make sure that title is not just blah, make sure it's like really eye-catching and someone's then going to sit and watch it. Okay, so number 9, engagement polls. There are tons and tons of new features on Instagram, so you want to make sure that you're using the new features wherever possible. Same goes for Facebook. And the polls are really good. Like, you want people engaging with you as much as possible. And the polls are great for this. It doesn't have to always be about business. Like, use your brand, use your personality. Think about, you know, questions that, you know, it could be something, you know, like, oh, I'm looking for a new buggy. Like, what's your recommendations? This one or this one? Like, has anyone used it? Like, I'm going to get my eyebrows done. It could be, you know, microblading or semi-permanent tattoo. Like, there's loads of different polls that you can use without talking about business that's within your brand. So really have to think about that. There's also the questions on there as well. There's also the little slidey bar. So those are all going to give you interaction, and means that you're engaging with your followers. Number 10, engage with each other. Make sure that you are watching other people's stories, because what that's going to do is that it's going to, you know, you don't have to spend hours on it, but if you're building a business online, you should be really interacting and, you know, supporting other people in terms of, you know, watching their stories, engaging on their posts, like not just you know, an emoji here and there, but, you know, reacting to their stories, reacting to their posts, and using, you know, comments and replying to their messages and having that interaction with them on their stuff as well, because then they're gonna return the favor if they like what you're posting. And Instagram is also going to boost up your algorithm if they see that you're actually being social, which is what social media is all about. And then a bonus tip, number 11, is you can also tell people to turn their notifications on for your stories. I haven't done this yet. I need to have a look in the settings when I get home. But you can say to people, look, you know, thanks for watching my story. Like, or if you're having a conversation with them, if there's something they're waiting for, something they're looking for, or they really like your tips, you can also put it in your bio as well, I suppose, is you can turn on notifications so that when I post a story, you'll get notified. So that's the same with Facebook. So you can have see first option. And you can also have your 30 close friends and family, so that they will show first in your newsfeed over anything else. So that's it, guys. Just a really quick, I'm just literally in my comfies about to run in and do some food shopping. No makeup at all, but I thought I'd just pop on and do those quick tips with you. And have a good Friday night, everyone, and I will be back tomorrow. I'm going to attempt to make some products with the kids tomorrow, but it could be a little bit messy, so we will see what happens. The other thing as well, quickly, if you don't know already, there's a competition running, so share the video and comment done underneath, and you'll be entered into a draw to win £100 worth of products in a couple of weeks. And also just remember, like, these tips can be used for any business whatsoever. Like, if you're building any business and you're not doing something on social media, like, I would say you're massively missing out. So just remember, it can apply to all different types of business. So have a good evening, everyone, and I will catch you soon.